live. Going. Big love, dear Howard. Namaste. How are you doing? Namaste, dear Howard. Big love. Sorry we were 10 minutes late. Took us a moment to both get into the studio and to get sort of sorted. And yeah, man, what an exciting day. The day of energy. We have with us dear Shinobi. Those of you should know Shinobi by now. Shinobi is like his face is in the wallpaper, so everybody should know everybody. He's a decoder, and he's head deep into the mysticism and the occult and the philosophy, and he's also, he's a parent. He's grounded in the physical world. He's having to do the hard work, parenting. Oh my gosh. I thought life was easy, and then I became a parent. Thought I mastered this world. And I was like, but Dad, and I was like, damn, I got so much to learn. Welcome, dear brother. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Yeah, all good. Definitely feeling that Aries energy of the boys tonight. They're wild. Esme's just putting them to bed at the moment. I just did brush their teeth, tried sort of getting them ready. There's only 2 of them, but it's like herding cats. But yeah, man, all good. How you doing?
I can't complain, hey. Beautiful day. I got to spend the day with my girlfriend. Always lovely spending the day with my girlfriend. I won't see her again this weekend because my world is like collapsing. The roads are closed because they're having like races, like, sports, running and all of that. Is it running or cycling? No, it must be cycling. It's April. Oh my gosh, I can't keep up. Must be the August tour already. Must be, yeah. So anyway, sports, closing the roads and all of that. And we've got a naval festival on. So got to see her yesterday and today. Today was my beloved's birthday. How cool is it for her to have a birthday on the 17th when all of this is happening? Very auspicious.
Well,
man.
Today's galactic signature, the galactic signature for today is a red crystal moon guided by birth. And of course, it's a new moon as well. So it's not a red crystal moon because it's a new moon. It's just happened to fall on a new moon, and it's guided by birth. So what a cool day to have a birthday. It's like new, fresh energy, fresh year. Your mic's muted.
Yeah, we've got so much going on here. We've got the new moon, right? And in Aries, which is like already, it's powerful, right? Having the new moon in Aries is already, it's a big story. But we also have, a lot more going on than just that. We've got some very powerful currents, very powerful, intense energies happening. For example, we've got Neptune, right? Neptune's doing the dance. And when Neptune does a dance, it's a big deal. So what have we got going on? Let's break this down, right? And we can break it down with other elements. So we've got the moon. It's a new moon. It's in Aries. We've got obviously the sun in Aries, right? We've got Mars in Aries, right? We've also got Mercury. Yeah, Mercury in Aries, right? We've got Saturn in Aries. That's intense. Tell you, we'll break that down. And we've got Neptune in Aries. And so these two very almost seemingly opposing forces of Neptune and Saturn. Saturn's very like get down and get the job done. Like roll up your sleeves, time to buckle up and time to really like focus on the goals and what we're going to achieve. Neptune's like, hey, dude, just kick back and like let your head blast open and dream the great dreams and so it's a very busy season for all Aries people, but not just for Aries people. You know, the world is being shaken, and Aries is the god of war, right? And god of action. Have you been feeling this energy, dear brother? How is it feeling for you on a personal level?
Surprisingly, surprisingly really good, actually. I mean, I've heard some people are taking it quite hard. Like there's a lot of energy. A few weeks ago, there was advice to make sure that we're grounded because there's so much fiery energy. But yeah, as far as I'm going, really good. I have made quite an interesting like an etymological breakdown of the word Aries with all of the planets, and I did hear Chiron and Eris were involved in this list as well. I'm just trying to find it because that would equal 7 or 8 different you know, like different thingies. I don't really know what to call Eris. I think Eris is an asteroid, you know. Your mic's muted.
Man. Yeah, as is Chiron, they're relevant and important asteroids.
Yeah.
And Aries is quite interesting, right?
Yeah.
Makes you think of like the Aries and the Aries, right? Because she's who's going to inherit, right? So that's something quite interesting. But yeah, you know, Chiron, the wounded healer, is Chiron for sure in Aries? You're definitely sure about that, yeah?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Wow. So the wounded healer's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, he's there somewhere, yeah. So
It's in
he's
its final
included.
stages of its transit through Aries. So it's still in
Mm.
Aries. That's right. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It's in its final stages because obviously, there's the wounded healer. There's the like spiritual alchemy of that. There's the kind of burning away, so something new can be rebirthed. The sort of transmutation, which fits with all of this Aries energy of like this burning away, and all of the list of planets as well. I'll go through them in a little bit because I've used Aries and kind of just played around with the sound. Um, so yeah, I'll read out that list in a minute. I'm just trying to put it together.
So just to say hello, Gaz, brother, out tuition. Big love to all of you guys. Hollowbone Hawk, everybody. It's Hollowbone Hawk's birthday today. How auspicious.
Happy
It's her birthday,
birthday.
so give her a big happy birthday. And it was lovely seeing her today with her super awesome teenager who was teaching my little boy how to make analog horror videos. It's his new thing. 9 years old and he wants to make films and they have to be analog horrors. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Thank God I've got a cool teenager that's hip enough to like say, you know what, you're 9 years old, I'm going to show you the ropes, mate. Let's take a camera and have a bit of fun. So he's been playing around with Hollowbone Hawk's teenager, and Hollowbone's Hawk teenager is just super, super, super cool with Josh. Actually gives him a lot of good guidance. So yeah, everybody else that's joined us, big love and blessings, dear brother Howard. Big love to you all. And are you ready, Shinobi?
Yep.
Are you ninja ready, brother?
Ninja. I'm as ninja ready as I'll ever be. Right. So this list that I've put together, I haven't really worked out. I've associated some of them with the planets. So the sun is in Aries, which is the constellation Aries, spelled Aries. Aries is god of war, spelled Ares. If you play around with the pronunciation, from Aries, you also get errors, and you get erase, and then you get auras and arise as well, which is really interesting because the energy we've got at the moment is all about it's about erasing or burning away, I guess, burning away old patterns, because it's I mean, Chiron, I'm not sure where exactly everything is, but I do understand that recently Neptune and Saturn were conjunct at 0 degrees Aries. It's interesting, Chiron's at the last degree of Aries as well. Like this whole kind of phase is about kind of, well, we're in the fire horse year as well. Next year's the fire goat. So if the fire horse is to do with, I guess, like our life force, like a horse is a carrier or a vessel, and it's to do with the spirit, like our spirit as well, our collective spirit. That's why there's been so much dense energy with the Epstein files, war, trying to put a virus in the collective, which didn't work. There's a lot of stuff going on trying to deplete our energy. It's like this vampiric force is trying to sink its teeth into us to drain us, because this is very powerful initiation and transformative energy that's happening in the cosmos, in the collective psyche, in the world soul, and in us as well. So very powerful energy. And then Aries, sort of errors, like sort of that would be relating to Chiron, I guess, the wounded healer, and sort of acknowledging our errors and dissolving them, burning them away, so that we can regrow from the ashes. And then auras, I've associated auras with Neptune, because Neptune's like to do with like water. So you have obviously aura, but then you have auras as well, to do with movement and the feeling or intuition or dreaming of Neptune. And then Eris would be erase, because Eris is associated with discord and chaos. And sometimes chaos can be good if you're able to work with it, but there's a lot of chaos in the world, which we can get kind of lost at sea in. So with the Eris, that's to do with erasing and sort of acknowledging what's going on, but not being swept up in it. And then arise, I've associated arise with Saturn, because Saturn's to do with building and structure. So that's how we build from the ashes of stuff we've burnt away. So I find that interesting, all the wordplay you can do with Aries, if you kind of sort of give it a bit of a twang, like Aries, errors, arise, auras, erase. All sounds kind of similar. So that's interesting for sure. And of course, it's a new moon today as well. So
yeah, man, it most definitely is a new moon. And so let's take a look at this. What have we got? What have we got going on here? So we've broken through it. We've got the new moon in Aries, right? And that's like very intense energies, right? And that like the new moon in Aries is like that's like, it's got to do with like fearless energy of, you see, the moon in the occult spheres, right? We're talking about the number 2 on the Enneagram. That's like that very powerful polarity, the polarity and potential. That's what the moon represents. It's also a gateway into the unconscious. So it's very intense energy, more intense than almost any of the other planets. It's about fearlessly going into, throw yourself into the into the potency and the potentials of what can be. Aries is all full of, what does Aries represent? Aries represents the body, represents impulse, represents being really courageous and just throwing yourself at whatever is in front of you. You don't think, because you don't have to think. You just do. Aries is pure action. On the Enneagram, it's ruled by number 9. 9 is the activist. The activist doesn't think about the consequences. They're too busy doing. They get on with. They're the big ones that are going to change the world, move forward, take risks, go in towards that sort of whatever challenging dynamic. It's a high voltage energy. It's very energetic. It can build anxiety or extreme impatience, for frustration. You just want to go through it and move through. The moon means you want to take it all into yourself as well. So like that means there can be challenges with like the emotional conversations, right? Just want to get to the end of the emotional problem. Emotional things don't always happen that fast. They are, you got to take your time to go through the emotional conversation. Aries just the battering ram, mate. We got to get this thing sorted. We got to get it fixed right now, instead of like, let's let things play out. So patience isn't the strong suit of Aries, but what is the strong suit is getting the that movement that you need to start a project off, and the impulse. There's a lot of altruism. That's why you see activism, number 9, is very much to do with humanitarianism and altruism, because Aries is led by the heart. They are not led by the head, led 100% by the heart. And that's why we speak of the warrior. So the moon going into this energy is like our emotions are going to be in this impulsive state, assertive, very quick with the emotion. The healing is going to be very fast as well. The moon's alignment with Chiron especially is going to bring about this sort of issues of self-worth and how we identify with others, because what are we taking in? What are we getting back from our collective? So it's like, it's about getting back your personal power, and also moving, like challenging trends. And then we got the sun in Aries. Sun in Aries is like very potent solar energy. It's like, I've got a goal. Let's move towards what I want to do. Like, it's got to do with worldly affairs. It's moving forwards. There's elements of the energy of the career. It's got a very powerful, like, going to start a new project. Confidence is very high. That feeling of like, I'm fresh, just had a shower, I've been reborn, I've been brought out of my proverbial shell, and focuses on like getting towards a goal. Very much like trailblazing, leading energy that we're coming up with. And Mars then adding to this makes it like intense, because Mars is number 9 in the house of number 9. That's 81, 9 times 9, and 9 plus 9 is 18. We're bringing this subtle energy of Saturn and the potency of the sun to be blazing that fire into the number 9's house, which is Aries, and bringing that sort of intense motivation and very much independence. That's another thing about Aries. The sun as well. They're both very focused on independence. You get the sun and Aries together. This means more impatience. This means like impulsiveness will be to a level high, almost. Risks, like Aries is already ready to take risks. You put Mars in Aries, you put the sun in Aries, you put the moon in Aries, where it's about like, what I'm doing is going to reflect on me, who I am, because the lunar energy is very much about looking back at myself, self-reflection. You put these all together, and self-reflection, not necessarily for like the spiritual realities like Neptune, but more like how I relate emotionally to those around me, family, the home. Think of the element of Cancer, for example. So, that's bringing that energy in. It's the potential for conflict is higher. The risks are more intense. And as if that's not enough, you throw Mercury into the mix. So when you throw Mercury into the mix, you've got communication. But the communication is extremely impulsive. Words, there's just, forget any possibility of not getting things off your chest. There will be no filters. Courageous expression, truths that you never thought you'd ever find yourself saying. This is it. Those with Aries planets, you won't be able to stop yourself. You'll just be, you'll be fast. And the decisions, you won't even think about decisions. You'll have made them by the time that you're doing them. You'll realize that you've made them before you started doing them, and you'd be like, I chose this. So be prepared, like to catch yourself. And here's where the conflict starts. Saturn's the beginning of the conflict, because Saturn in this house of Aries, Saturn wants to take deliberation. Saturn wants to sit down and be really super organized, and Saturn doesn't want to waste energy. Saturn wants to be strategic. Aries, they don't care about wasting energy. They've got loads of energy, abundance. They just want to like run to the goal. Saturn's like, no. So here's where you find that pulling, the instinctual pull of Aries, and Saturn's like structuring need to like be in control, right? That long-term sort of ideology, the plan. So this could be like an issue of accountability, right? Because this is conflict that's happening in here, and karmic lessons can come. This alignment is often in astrology considered to be potential for accidents. So because you're pulling away from the, imagine you're driving, you're pulling away from the right lights before you even knew you were pulling away, and then you catch yourself and now you want to suddenly stop, but you're already going in the road, right? Imagine that. That's how accidents start. You pull away and then you hesitate and then you start. And so when you start doing something and you hesitate, that's when the problem strikes. And so Aries just go guns blazing, and then Saturn's like, whoa, look before you leap. Now you're stopping to look before you leap. Had you just gone with your instinct, you would have been less likely to be in an accident. But because you're stopping to evaluate in the middle of doing, it creates dissidence. However, very powerful combination. If you can sit down and meditate and slow yourself down, that incredible power of Aries can move you forwards. And even if you're not Aries, like for me, like my Mars is in Taurus, right? But Taurus exalts the moon, right? Which leads me back to the Ood of Aries. It tempers my emotional, I think things through carefully a little bit more because that earthly Taurus element. But that will still flame me up with the Aries because of my moon's association with Mars. Does that make sense? So I might not directly have these things in Aries, but my moon is very powerful in my horoscope because moon's in Taurus, but my moon is in conjunction with Mars. So at the moment, we've got a moon-Mars conjunction. So that tunes me to this energy in some like powerful way, even though it's not direct, it's subtle, it's indirect. And then again, there's the last thing is Neptune. Neptune is all about that, going out into the spheres of the alternative potentials, the alternative realities, the dreams, the psychic perceptions. It's going to challenge what we think we know. It's going to challenge what we believe. It's going to bring out that sort of idealism, which when tampered with Aries becomes powerful food for change, because Aries is ruling that transformative potential as an activist that moves towards humanitarianism. So there's a big focus on self-individuation, right? Because number 7 on the Enneagram, right, is looking within oneself, the mystic. You're bringing that individuation and you're multiplying it by 9, 63, right? So that is like intense, right? When we're looking at the moon, we've got the number 2. That's the empathy, intense sensitivity to what's going on around us. That Aries powers that up, but impulsively reacting to that empathy and that energy towards everybody else. Reading situations emotionally, really, really, really fast. The adventurer, communication, number 5, powerful, very fast speech, very fast thinking, very fast conceptualizing, shifting energy between different levels of being, moving quickly. Obviously, number 8, the achiever. We've got the achiever multiplied by 9 at 72. Also, 8 plus 9 is also at 17. So you can see we've got this bringing us back to 18 and bringing us back to 9, this dance between Saturn and Aries from a numerological perspective, bringing in both those vibrational fields. Number one is very intense. 1 + 9 is 10, which brings us back to, 1 × 9 is 9, which brings us back to the Enneagram. But 1 + 9 is 10, which brings us back to 1 after 9 has crossed over the Pluto void, or void isn't the right word, but the heart. So you see all these energies are compounding us and bringing us towards that sort of intense focus of number 9. I don't know, brother, have I left out much? Chiron, wounded healer.
Yeah, Chiron and Eris, did you mention?
I didn't mention either, but I'm sure you were looking into that, were you not? Well, we know
Actually,
Chiron is Jupiter related.
No, I actually wasn't, but there's Chiron is related to like Jupiter, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is actually the only fire I have in my chart. That's in my Venus. All the rest is Earth and water. My moon's in Gemini actually, but so it's interesting because we're the year of the fire horse as well. We did a podcast about that not too long ago about Chiron and Sagittarius, but I don't really know too much about Eris other than it's associated with discord and chaos, and that I think 2 days before the October 7th attacks in Israel, the COVID variant was called Eris, which represents discord, and it was followed by discord and chaos. So that's very telling that these variants seem to sort of there was another couple of variants as well where some stuff unfolded in regards to the name of the variant, like how they're altering consciousness and perception. But I don't know too much about Eris. Why don't you say a bit about Chiron, because you definitely know more about that than I do.
Well, the Chiron is obviously when we speak about the wounded healing. I don't know too much about Aries, to be honest, but Chiron is obviously, there's an element in the Oud towards Scorpio, which is that powerful force of transformation, which is in itself already related to the number 9. Scorpio, the feminine path of Mars, which is, you could think of it as Aries' sister. And so when you've got this sort of energy in play, that's the card of death and transformation in the major arcana of the tarot. You've already got this powerful Scorpion energy, which is very, very sensitive, very sexually related, right? As well, rules over the genitalia. But so the main star that's being targeted by the bow of Sagittarius is this star. And so this Antares star is like a really fundamental star to the pivot of the spinning of this wheel, the Mazloth, the constellations. And so the fact that this wounded healer represents that, it means that the expansion, which represents Jupiter, is expanding and growing, is moving towards that process of transformation, which is looking within us, because the feminine path of Mars is when Mars looks within. And when Mars looks within, Mars wants to transform, because that's what Mars does. Mars transforms. Mars is an activist. Mars transforms the inner landscape. And the inner landscape of transformation rules over the occult. That's Scorpio. So Scorpio essentially rules the world of occult. And that inner transformation, and let me repeat this, Scorpio rules the occult. And Scorpio being ruled by the planet Mars shows that Mars has a powerful occult resonance, right? And that powerful occult resonance, which is Scorpio, is looking within. So there's this interesting twist of this arrow being moved at the Antares, which is relating to that inward journey of energy, which is transforming us, our deep esoteric occult nature, and the way that we can understand the formation and structure of the universe and our place in it, and heavy elements of magic is involved. Even though magic be ruled by Mercury, the essential expression of it is happening through the sphere of Scorpio, which is why iron is so important. This is why in magic, for example, when you are using your athame or when you are using your sword, these are the weapons of magic, representing discrimination and representing the will, right? These two elements, that is got to be made out of iron. Iron is the metal, steel, iron, because you need that Mars energy, because Mars represents the will to move forward and the will to change. So Chiron then is that will being bent within oneself, focused inwards towards healing, so that the entire system within can be transformed towards a higher goal, spirituality being the key, because we're focused in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the philosopher. Sagittarius is focused upon the altruism. And so this is Jupiter in its masculine form, and in its feminine form, it relates to Pisces. But in Sagittarius, it's the sage shooting that arrow, the goal being the personal power that can take one to the proverbial Olympus. I mean, in a nutshell, a slightly big nut.
Yeah. So Eris is translated to strife or discord and association with chaos. So she is known for instigating the Trojan War by throwing the golden apple of discord, is how she instigated the Trojan War, apparently. And she's a brother. Aries is her brother. So she went into battle with Aries. And it's interesting that she's the one that instigated the war. So yeah. I mean, October the 7th did instigate something, and Eris was the COVID variant around that time, which is certainly interesting. Like there's a script or something. But yeah, I have tried looking, because usually goddesses or whatever are always depicted as bad or like chaotic, and they get the blame for stuff. So, if anyone else in the chat has any insights into Eris, feel free to let us know. But all I can see is that it's just negativity is associated with her, which usually is with goddesses. Like taking Hecate, for example. But yeah, so her Roman counterpart was Discordia.
I was going to say, I think she's been given a bad rap. And I think like her bad rap that she's been given, right, is because she relates to what we call strife, right? And what we call discord, right? But I don't think it's necessarily like when there were like things like famines or other kinds of problems that would happen, they would relate it to her, and that's why they call it discordia. But if you think about what discord means, just if you break it down from a psychological perspective, right? Imagine facing your shadow. It's going to bring discord into your life, right? If when one starts to do the shadow work, one starts to acknowledge that there's an issue, and one then has to face that issue. So one can be going through life, and life is like, la, 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 la. It's songs and it's flowery, and you're just stepping on other people, and you don't notice you're stepping on other people, and you're behaving like a knob or whatever. And then suddenly you have a wake-up call, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm a knob. I'm stepping on people. What am I doing? And suddenly we open up and we look at ourselves, and the shadow is revealed, and it's like, it's discord, man. Oh my gosh, is this who I've been? Have I been this person? How on earth have I been this kind of person? What's wrong with me? Am I a narcissist? And so this is like what we go through when we face our shadows. It's discord, it's Aries, we're looking at all of our errors, we're looking at all of our mistakes. So naturally it will seem dark, but I think there's like a hidden gem in this. It's like when you go through those dark, challenging times, that's like when you gain the most spiritual strength. I don't know. What do you think about that? You know, that maybe she's been given a bad rap because people like it easy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Probably has. And Eris sounds a lot like errors. Sounds a lot like erase. So usually any like beings, or most of the time it's goddesses, because they're associated with the dark or the underworld, and then usually the masculine is the positive, the light, the hero. So yeah, by like chaos and discord, like discord seems to be like a bit of like an unraveling or a disconnection. It's like what's the word? Like, what do you call people with ADHD and autism? It's called a disorder, and it's seen as negative, whereas really disorder is good, because sometimes, well, in the case of the world at the moment, the order or the structure needs dissolving. It needs chaos to break it down, to create something new. So yeah, Eris is definitely, other than the story of her starting the Trojan War, I mean, again, war relating to Scorpio being ruled by Mars and Aries. I mean, Aries is the head and Scorpio is the reproductive organs. They're both very powerful energies, and Scorpio is to do with like new life as well. And so from chaos or discord, you do get sort of new insights and stuff, but I can 100% see that she's been portrayed as a negative being.
You know, you mentioned the Trojan War, and I think that's quite interesting. Like we see the Trojan War as a bad thing, but I'm looking at it from this perspective, right? There was a dude who was like banging another dude's wife. This is really the story, right? There was a dude, his wife ran off with John. Paul is like, what the heck? Where's my wife? No, your wife's gone. She's in John's bed. Of course, Paul is going to be angry. Now, what role is Aries playing here? Aries is like, there's a wrong being done, and I want to right that wrong. And so I'm going to give, like, John an opportunity to do the right thing and make sure that Paul's wife goes back to Paul. But John, being greedy, says, no, I want her all for myself. So he causes a war. And Aries is like that will give you the choice. Do you want to do the right thing? If you don't, it's like there's the apple or there's a stick. There's another story of Aries being not allowed into a wedding of one of the gods and goddesses, because they're afraid of her. And because she wasn't allowed into the wedding, she throws this golden apple, and on the golden apple there's an inscription that says, like, to the fairest of them all. And it starts a terrible feud. And the feud is like, who's the fairest of them all? Vanity. So the reason why the gods and the goddesses didn't want Aries at their ball was because she's going to show up their vanity. And they are happy with their vanity. They don't want to be exposed as vain, self-serving, self-righteous, I'm better looking than you kind of narcissistic people, right? They are the gods. So they wanted to keep Aries far away from them. And so what does she do? She's like, oh, well, I'm here to bring, I think Aries brings out the dark truths. I think when we're working with shadow work, I think Aries is a big part of shadow work. And then Chiron is how that gets integrated. But Aries is what throws the gauntlet down. Just have to say, like, there's the ugly truth. Can you face it? And will you make the right choice?
Yeah, 100%. it's interesting with the Trojan War. Obviously, they used a horse to get through the gates. It reminds me of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So when there's the epoch collapse or the revelations or the unraveling, or when old patterns are burning away and people are becoming aware or awakened or whatever, or tuning into source, they've got to bring in the horse. And I made a video. I think my first video I made was called Exercise Pegasus, a Trojan horse, because I could see that Exercise Pegasus was the first horse. It's, of course, a white horse. The second horse is a red horse. We're in the year of a fire horse. This is the red horse. Of course, it's going to be war, especially with all this Aries energy as well. And then all the horse is like, well, I see it's just a structure. So these four horsemen of the apocalypse, it's probably a story which has happened before, as well as being a script, that whenever there's a new transition or new energy, the power structures use these structures to keep power in place. First, they use a white horse, which is like disease or illness, I think. Then they use war, and if war doesn't work, then they use the next one, which I'm not sure what the next one is, but a pale horse would be representative of probably like the realm of shells. Like that's the last part of that. But I just find it interesting that with the Trojan War, there was a Trojan horse in Troy, which relates to the story of Eris as well. And yeah, you brought some interesting stuff with Eris there. I'm glad you brought that up, because people get quite demonized in mythology, and it's quite. I did try doing some research on the fly, but you can't really rely on like the first searches when you're looking up things like that. Like, what's the myth of Eris? And it's like, she's bad, she started the war, all of this negativity. So that's the thing when talking about these energies, which are called like gods or myths. I try not to talk about any of them negativity, like too negatively, because we're just going on information from hearsay. That's why I always try to find the essence, and then if you can try and split the words and try and sort of like find the common thread, like with Eris being discord or chaos, it's like, yeah, sometimes that's needed, and sometimes people want to keep their linear structure, and if people go against that, then they're demonized.
Yeah, you're so completely right. There's this tendency in humans to, and I think that this is very interesting because this has got to do with the impulsiveness and the desire of the planet number 9, of going towards fulfilling our desires. And anything that challenges our desires is generally called bad, and anything that fulfills our desires is called good, right? So this is like a tendency, I think, in humanity that defines our weakness. And so we will think of, for example, getting money and getting abundance is a good thing because, well, it is a good thing, right? But I also know somebody who won the lottery in the UK, and I think it took him 3 years to blow the money. Sure, he had loads of friends. He had loads of like white powder. He had the cars, but at least he was a good bloke. So he spent all the money on other people, and he bought stuff. People bought people cars, bought people stuff, gave away money, gave away things, gave money to charity, did this. He was a good guy. But when I said to him, why did you do that? He was like, dude, like, you don't know what it's like. You suddenly got all this money, millions of pounds, and you don't know what to do with it. And suddenly you notice yourself changing, and you notice, like, on an unconscious level, he just wanted to get rid of it. right? So what we get given as a blessing can become a curse. And often what we get given as a curse can become a blessing. You meet people that with bad things have happened to them, and because that bad things happen, they've turned their lives around, and they've turned their lives into something like inspirational, and they can now go and inspire other people to make their lives better because of a bad thing that happened to them. So, this is a common thing that you can see. So I think the necessary evil in life is to be able to appreciate that within the bad there is good, and within the good there is bad. And that brings us back to Yang Yin, doesn't it? The Taoist symbol, which is just so perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And the snake as well. And the movement, the constant flow of all things, because nothing is stagnant, nothing is still, everything is in constant motion. Nothing is set in stone, even the stone being related to the heart, or like a rock, even though even the heart's a vortex. It seems that this realm that we're in is a vortex as well. We have a vortex around us called the toroidal field. That's life. That's life. Life is a vortex. Like it's a dance, a constant motion of I guess duality, but it's not split. It's not divided. It's one and the same. And sometimes you need one to recognize the other.
You're completely right. And so looking at this again, just to add a little bit of like flavor to it. So we are now in the month of 9, and we've got the planet of 9 in the month of 9, which obviously means that whether it's 9 times 9 or 9 plus 9, it comes back to 9. Whether it's 81 or 18, it comes back to 9. And whichever way you look at it, the discipline and power of Saturn is being implied, and the powering, fiery impulse of energy that can start and move us towards success is being powered by the sun, because 8 is looking for success and the sun is moving us. So whether it's 81, it's the success that's using the power of the sun, or it's 18, it's the power of the sun that's driving us towards success. So you've got that powerful energy there. So we can think of that as like coming back to like 18. So let's make a note of this. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. So we say 18, 1 and 8, right? And then when we look at the moon being there, we've got the 2 and the 9, right? The 2 going into the 9. Now, when you focus from the perspective of the moon and you say 2 times 9, 2 nines, because the moon is 2, it works in 2s, you end up back at 9. When you focus from the 9 to the 2, it goes 9 times 2, 9 plus 2, which is 11, which is snake eyes. Very powerful. That's 2 of the suns moving towards a snake's energy. So we could then say, what do we get when we say 18 plus 11? We get 29. So let's think of that. 29. This is a compound between both elements of the moon being in the house of Mars, right? But we can also say that the snake eyes is the key. So we'll go with the 11, right? But we'll keep an ood to the fact that there's a 29 there. Then we can also look at the next big player here, right? Which is obviously Mercury. And so the same principles come there. We've got the 5 plus the 9, which is 14, brings us back to 5. And we've got the 5 times the 9, which is 45. So the 14 brings us back to 5, which is the 14, right? So I should be writing this down. But let's just say 14. And 2 times 9 is 18. I really should be writing this down. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put them onto different different places. 29.
Do you want me to write these
29.
down?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah.
If you could, that'd be really great. So for the first one, where we're dealing with, okay, let's break it down. So we've got the first one, which is the Sun in Aries. Okay, Sun in Aries, which is the 1 plus the 9, which is 10. So the numbers are 10, and the number is 9. So 9 on the left, 10 on the right, and the composite, which is the third compound number, would be 19, right? Then we've got the moon. So the first one would be 2 times 9, which is 18 on the left, 11 on the right, and 29 as the composite. Then we've got Mercury, where we've got 5 times 9, which is 45 on the left, and 14 on the right. And 45 plus 14 becomes 59. Check my brain. Yeah, 59. That's the third element. Then we've got Neptune, which is 7 times 9, which is 63 on the left, and 16 on the right. And 16 plus 63 becomes 79. And then we've got 8, Saturn, the next one, which is 72 on the left, right, and 17 on the right, which becomes 89 as a composite. Is that right? 72 plus 18. No, 80. Sorry, it becomes 80. 72.
What?
No, it becomes 90. 90.
89.
Sorry.
No, it's 89. 72 at 17. Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's 89.
You're right the first
I
time.
thought I'd made a mistake. My brain's going a bit. So those are the numbers that we've got. And so what are the composite numbers? Could you read them to me slowly, one at a time? The composites. The third row.
Oh, okay. So the sun, 19. Moon.
Hold on. One more. Which would be 9, which would be Aries, which would be 9 plus 9, which is 18. 9 times 9 is 81. So the third column, we can do this last, is 9 plus 9, 9 times 9, 89 on the left, 18 on the right, and 18 plus 81 becomes 99. Wow.
89 plus 18.
No, 81 plus 18 becomes 99. That's the third column. So if you could read those all to me one by one, and I'll quickly try and add them up.
Okay, so 19 for the sun, the moon, 29.
So that's 29 and 19, 39, 48, yeah.
Mercury, 59.
98's 107.
Neptune, 79.
177 plus 9 is 186.
Saturn is 89.
186 plus 89 is 266 plus 9, 275.
And Aries is 99.
275 becomes 374. Isn't that really interesting? And you know, it's like really an interesting number. So without getting too much into it, let's just look at the scale of a calendar, right? Just to be clear. So we one short of the 365, right? So this means we're looking at the mystic number. So 1 is the mystic number of 2, 2 is the
Hang
mystic
on.
number of 3.
Did it equal 374, not 364? Yeah.
Did I say 374?
374.
Was that the number? Not 36. Did you write it down? Yeah.
I wrote it down. I'm pretty sure it
Thank
was
God.
374.
Sorry. Okay. That was my brain running away from me. 374. Okay. So what are we talking about? 374 is 10 plus 4, 14. It's back to 5. It's Mercury. But it's got the power of Jupiter. It's got the power of the optimist. It's got the power of the mystic. And it's got the power of the builder together. But it is really essentially the adventurer. So it's the adventurer, the movement of language and movement between the different planes of existence and shifting energy between different states, but using the knowledge of the builder, right? And the wisdom of the optimist and that profound expansiveness of mind and openness, and using the careful cognitive power which always searches for the mysteries within of the mystic, which is really really interesting if you think about it, bringing us back to the adventurer. And as the vibration of 5, this, gosh, how can I do this without, it would be sacrilegious to try and have this conversation without pointing out the elephant in the room, which is Saturn.
So, do you know why people say that? I was actually thinking about that today. Why is it called the elephant in the room? Is it related to Ganesh? To do with obstacles?
Oh, baby.
Like there's an obstacle in the room.
Yeah, man.
Is that why?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, there's something that's preventing us from seeing the full truth.
Yeah.
Right? So when we talk about an elephant in the room, there's like, we're talking about looking at things. We want to understand what's going on. But the elephant in the room is that thing that we're not looking at. Right? We're looking at A, B, D, E, F, G, H. We're looking at the whole alphabet, but we're not looking at C. And without looking at C, we can't see the whole alphabet. So it becomes the obstacle because it's our blind spot.
Yeah, as well, there's that story of like 3 blind people holding different parts of the elephant. One's the trunk, one's the tail as well. So yeah, it would kind of relate to like perspectives as well, and you have to kind of look at all angles to see the big picture. Do you know what's interesting about before you move on with all of these? So the sun being 19 equals 1, which is a number for the sun. It's the same with all of the other planets. It's all worked out that 29 for the moon is a 2, Mercury 59 is a 5, Neptune 79 is a 7. No, hang on. Yeah, it's a 7. Saturn 89 equals an 8. And then Aries 99 equals 18, which is the number 9. Which is interesting.
You know, you just caused me to think of something. And so the first one is an obvious one, right? The first one is 19, and that is potassium, right? And so let me grab potassium. Potassium 19 atomic number. And so it's like it's quite powerful when you start to look at these things to really get a breakdown of the decode of just exactly. So there we go. There's potassium. Where is it? There it is. There's potassium. So you can see here, right? When we look at potassium, so we got 4 in the sorry, we've got the 4 in the S. I think it's got to do with the orbital positionings. And we've got the 39 and the 0983. 983 is 9 plus 11, which is 20. Interesting. So we've got 19, 39, and 20. 39 is obviously 3, 2. So we've got the 1, the 3, and the 2. It's almost like 1, 2, 3. And potassium's the key towards basically towards growth of organic matter. Yeah, like it's fundamental to this expansiveness of the solar potential coming into contact with matter. And so that's why plants need potassium to grow. Potassium is an important mineral also for our brains, also to be able to stay, particularly healthy. Then when we go 29, we've got copper, right? And copper is interesting too, because we've got the 546, which is 10 plus 5, which is 15, which is 6. It's Venus, right? We've got the 6 plus 3, which is 9. So we've got the 9 and the 6, and we've got the 2 plus 9, which is 2. So we've got the 2, the 9, and the 6. And so that's quite interesting. These are two that like different vibrations carried by copper. 6 being like really fundamental. 9 being instrumental, because it's usually Venus is very much related to outside things, towards, this is the peacemaker. Like the popular New Age Enneagram will say that number 9 is the peacemaker. Number 6 is the peacemaker. 6 wants to maintain the status quo and keep everybody happy. 6 wants to avoid conflicts at all costs. It's part and parcel of the number 6's vibration, which is why when you think of the number 6, you think of Libra, balancing the scales. If you ever have a conflict between two people, bring in somebody who's got a lot of Libra energy. They'll sit there and they'll like play devil's advocate to both of them and show both of them that they can find common ground, because that's what number 6 does. It's a sort of Venus's power, really, though they also do like to be embedded within the physical. Well, what was the third number, by the way?
Well, just before you move on, copper used to be used to disinfect swimming pools before chlorine, and copper gives an orange glow. And I've come to realize lots of orange things seem to get rid of parasites, like turmeric. What were some other ones? I've got a list somewhere, but I was just thinking, the color orange, it's quite kind of warm and bright, like the sun. But yes, it's interesting that we used to have copper pipes as well, of course, back in the day before they were all plastic or whatever. But the next one on the list is the Moon, Mercury, then Neptune. Oh no, my mic's muted as well. Franklin, sorry. I was saying your mic's muted like a few times. And mine
Sorry, brother.
Yeah, mine was muted too. So
what was the next one down after 29? It would have been on the left 45, on the right 14.
Mercury.
And then the composite. Yeah. What was the
59.
final number?
So 59.
59. So I'm not quite sure what 59 is exactly offhand. Presidium. Presidium. That's interesting. It's not one I know too much about. I'm going to tell you straight up, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know too much about this Presidium. I'm just hoping that it's a good thing. So it's probably assault by the things by the looks of things, right? I suppose the only way to find out would be to Google it. Presidium. Maybe we can find out what its uses is. It's a ductile metal. Oh, it's a metal with a lanthanide within the rare earth series. It's magnetic, electrical, and optical properties. Interesting, huh? So they obviously use this for making LED lights, I'm guessing. Yeah? Let's take a look. Is used to make LED diodes. That's what my common sense would tell me. I could be wrong. It's just a shot in the dark. Yes.
With this and with copper, it's really strange because it's the 59 element, which is a 5, and then also the number at the bottom was 140, which is a 5. And it was the same with copper as well. I'm pretty sure the number at the top matched the number at the bottom. And that's a funny coincidence.
You are
strange.
You are making an interesting point.
Yeah.
You know.
Just the 140 is a 5, and then you have the 59, which is the 5. It's the same with the copper as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so it's got the number 1, it's got the number 5, and it's got the number 5. And if you bring them together, it's a number 11, it's snake eyes, which is number 2. So well spotted there. That is quite interesting. So here, it's used to make LED lights, like I thought. So it's for making colored lights. It's for enhancing the performance. I'm guessing phosphors. So I'm guessing by the number 5, is it used to make green light? Used to make diodes for green light. For green light. Just that's just a guess, people. Will see. I could be wrong. Yes, it's used to make diodes for green light, for enhancing the green light technologies. That's really bloody mind-blowing, because the green emitting phosphors, ions, when doped into specific host materials like lanthanum hydroxide, can absorb energy and emit light in the green-blue spectrum around 511 nanometers. The reason I was thinking that was because it doesn't seem like it's, you see, green light has the least amount of effect for photosynthesis, right? It's more about shifting the energy between different frequencies. And if it's got the number 5 in it, you see, the Vedic cosmologists, right, say Mercury, right, is green, right? So that's quite interesting, you know. So let me show you here, so you don't think I'm just sucking it out of my thumb. Let me find evidence. So green represents the fresh grass, represents Bud. Bud is like the Buddha, which is the Buddhi, which is the mind, which is Bud is the planet Mercury. So the planet Mercury is related to the color green. So there is an interesting perspective that by me using Vedic cosmology and Vedic occult principles, I'm able to know the physics of a particular material. Isn't that interesting? To just see like who's accurate, right? When it comes to the planet Mercury. Because we've been told that Mercury is this, and I honestly also see a very powerful resonance with the color red or orange, red-orange with Mercury, orange. But now you see that orange, and depending on the color orange, especially the orange, which is a vermilion kind of a orange color, which they relate to Jupiter, I see also as being a complement to turquoise, which is a kind of a green, bluish green. And I think the turquoise color is probably the color which is related to the spirit, which has been often, like you'll find that turquoise color and turquoise stone puts you in the most peaceful state. Well, would you say your experience of looking at colors is turquoise one of the most peaceful colors?
I quite like it is peaceful, yes. I find the most peaceful, I guess, like, is it like a twilight color? It'd be like sort of deep purple, almost black, but you can see the purple. I find that really calm and peaceful. So it's like really deep purple, almost black, but you can see a bit of color. I find that really a lovely, peaceful color. You know, it's like the dark, but there's a bit of color.
Indigo.
Indigo, yeah. Is that what it's called?
Well, indigo is that deep, dark blue, violety elemental color. It's like when the sun goes down and it's getting dark, and just before it gets dark, it gets that deep dark. It's got a violet element to it, but it's a deep dark blue violet color. That's I'm also powerfully related to that color. I think people related to that color are generally drawn into deep mystical practices, because Venus, like power, that represents going deep through the doorways of initiation, into mysticism, basically. And it's the most mystical color, isn't it? Just before the sunrise, just before dawn, the sky turns that color, and just before the night, the sky turns that color. Before you're going into the total darkness of the mysteries, and when you're coming out of the darkness of the mysteries, the awakening, it's the last and the first color. So it represents Venus in the way that, Venus, day star, night star. It's the first star and the last star that you will see, right? Venus.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about you mentioned Mercury being associated with kind of did you say like kind of like orange? I mean, like the color wall behind me is kind of Mercury. We can't really see it right now in this light, but it's kind of like a deep dark orange, kind of like cayenne pepper. But what's interesting is that cayenne as a color, it's like CYAN, is turquoise. So you have cayenne and cayenne both being related to mercurial colors. One is turquoise, cayenne, and cayenne pepper is kind of the other mercurial, which is the deep orange, kind of orangey brown. Find that interesting. Also, you were talking about Scorpio earlier. My ascendant's 29 degrees Scorpio, which is like right at the last cusp. So it makes sense that I'm into kind of like the mysticism and the occult. So I think in astrology it matters what your degree is. Like my moon is 4 degrees Gemini, so it's quite a low degree. I think the degree matters as to how much of that sort of sign you reflect, I believe.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a lot to that, and also the phase of the moon. Is the phase of the moon, dark moon, new moon, full moon. That they're going into the darkest part of the moon is the mysteries usually. The new moon of Shiva, which is when the moon doesn't have much light, so it's dark outside at night. Everything's mysterious. You can barely see. If you're living in the jungles, you really notice like that. Like, well, you don't see that much through the canopy, but it makes a difference. Tangerine. Bernadine, how are you? Namaste. Hollowbone Law. The sun Leo is gold, moon is silver. Yes, absolutely. Welcome, Bernadine. I hope you're well. Copper turned your skin green. Yeah, Gaz. Copper definitely does. That's the copper sulfate. That's the sulfates reacting with the copper and making copper sulfate turns green. I remember us doing that in high school. You know, you eat a lot of raw turmeric and copper. You know where you get a lot of copper from? Brown mushrooms. Yeah, man. But brown mushrooms. Yeah. Do you buy white mushrooms? Here's a question.
Never.
You only buy brown mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Mushrooms are loaded. The white mushrooms are. I don't think they're natural. It's like it's better to get the brown mushrooms. Like if you're gonna, like, even if they're a little bit more expensive, like get them and eat a little less, you know, of mushrooms. But it's better to go with the brown mushrooms, or, you know, even the other little ones. What are they called? The Italian why can't I think of the name of those mushrooms? The little ones.
Shiitake.
But shiitake is brilliant. I buy my. You know what I buy? I buy the big bags of brown of dry shiitake mushrooms. They're cheap, hey? You should do it. You know where you go to Chinese shops? You know where the Chinese places are, and you go to the Chinese supermarkets? You buy a massive bag, which is like a kilogram of shiitake mushrooms. It's the equivalent of 10 kilograms of shiitake mushrooms. It's the equivalent of like 22 pounds of shiitake mushrooms. And for that one bag, you are probably going to pay a tenner, 15 quid. So, but then you're getting 22 pounds of mushrooms. And then what you do is you need a sharp knife or a grater. My girlfriend likes the grater. You just grate that into whatever you're making, into a sauce. Whatever food you make, you just add shiitake, the dry shiitake. So it's an affordable way, and shiitake has got loads of good biome-inducing stuff. Like, it's loaded with copper, but it's also really good for your biome. So for your immune system and your gut, you don't get colds and flus in winter and stuff if you're eating lots of shiitake. So for those of you out there, it's a cost-effective way to, and I mean like for me, it's like this. I like to cook with 180 to 200 shiitake mushrooms per month for the family, right? So that's 180. There's 3 of us. Each person wants to eat 60 shiitake mushrooms per month. So each person wants to eat at least 2 shiitake mushrooms per day, whole ones, right? Nobody gets sick. No such thing as sickness. Because the gut, man. So, you know, for 15 quid a month, how can you go wrong with that? Yeah.
That's a bargain. They're quite expensive, shiitake mushrooms in the supermarket. They're never organic either, so that's why I don't buy them too often.
I had an ex-girlfriend that was Chinese, and she took me to the Chinese supermarkets. And in those days, it was cheap, man. It was like £5 for a massive bag. You get the big bag. Don't go with the smaller bags. Ask them for the big bag, like the full 2.2 pound bag. So find out, look where there's a big Chinese supermarket and go and buy the bulk. And it's like a one-time 20 quid, but it will last you for like months, right? Like 2 months or something. Work out to like 8 quid, 10 quid. But then you've got like shiitake every day, and you can grate it. Or if you've got a sharp knife, you can cut it into small blocks. You boil the kettle. You warm up a cup. You put some hot water into the kettle. You let it just stand until it's not boiling. You throw all your little blims of mushrooms that you've chopped up in there. Put a saucer over the cup and let it stand for like half an hour, right? And it softens it and it turns it into like proper mushroom pulp. And then you can throw that into whatever you're cooking, whether it's a sauce, whether it's a pasta, whether it's a curry, whether you can even just throw it into your rice if you're making rice. Yeah. If you're making bread, you're baking bread, you can throw that into your bread mix and give your bread like mushroom flavor and health and goodness. So there's like a lot of things you can do with it.
Nice. That bread sounds lovely. I've just been thinking as well in regards to copper. I'm not sure if it got mentioned or not, but with copper and mercury, that copper has that kind of brown orange kind of look, and then when it gets wet or oxidized, like over time, it goes green. So much like those two colors of Mercury, the kind of brown orange cayenne, and then to the cayenne sort of turquoise sea color, which is interesting. Yeah, should probably wrap up soon. Well, I've got to shoot off shortly anyway.
I've got to go too.
Yeah, it's
But
later
it's
where you
been
are
a
as
lot
well.
of fun.
Yeah, man.
We've been going an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, see, it's getting late. Well, it has been fun. And you're right about the copper sulfate turning green. I think it's copper sulfate that makes it turn green. That's what my memories tell me. That's like going way back to school. We used to have fun in the chemistry class. We had some crazy chemistry teachers. One of our chemistry teachers blew up the swimming pool. He put a massive chunk of phosphorus or lithium, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was phosphorus or lithium, into the swimming pool to show us and it made a bang. It blew up the pool, like literally blew up the side of the pool, and they had to fix the pool. And it was like, that was no more outside science experiments after that. Mr. Hicks, he was crazy, man. And interesting, Hollowbone Hawk's got quite a lot of experience working with metals. And she shared something with me that copper, like iron, you can temper iron with temperature. So with iron and steel, you make it hot and you dip it into cold water and it hardens it, right? But copper's the opposite. So if you got copper and it's hot and you dip it into cold water, it softens the copper. How cool is that? So the copper after that will stay softer. It won't keep its shape. So if you need your copper, let's say you want to make something and you want to keep it soft, yeah, then you do that. And then you can shape it more easily. You can bang it. And then after that, you heat it up again in a kiln or whatever. And then you let it cool softly, slowly. And then it'll be hard. So I'm sure like metal workers use that to their advantage to make it easier to work, to build stuff and whatever. But yeah, brother, if there's any last things you want to throw on the table.
Yeah, just on copper there. Copper's really good for your veins as well. I think as we age, our veins start constricting a little bit, and copper makes your veins more kind of elastic and helps the flow of blood, which is interesting. So yeah, last thoughts are that tomorrow, the galactic signature on this calendar is a white cosmic dog guided by timelessness. Just show that up there. Which is pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of the never-ending story with the white dragon dog and the nothing and timelessness. We should probably do a round table on that sometime. The never-ending story.
I agree totally. We should watch the film and then do it. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but it's definitely an option. In fact, I'll find a way we can get it. Maybe I can download it and we can like all watch it with the kids. Like I'll watch it with my boy. You watch it with your boys.
Well, I've got is it on a film site? I've got a film site I use, and there's most films on there. Is it on the film site?
What?
Never-ending story.
I think. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I had to buy it on DVD or not, because we use this film site, but lots of films from the 90s on there. Annoyingly, like The Borrowers, classic. Great movie. Have you seen The Borrowers?
I remember The Borrowers. It's like about these little gnomes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've started collecting DVDs, as many sort of old movies as possible from like late 80s, 90s. just for the kids, just so they've got DVDs to look through rather than scrolling through Netflix. We got rid of Netflix good few months ago. But yeah, we should definitely do that sometime. I'll let you know if it's on this film site, and then I can just send you a link, and then you can just watch it on there if you want.
Yeah, man, totally. I'll try and find it as well. Story, but send me your link to this to that film site. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd be really interested to find it. But because I go on to a thing called webarchive.org. It's an open source thing as far as I know, and I often find things there that you can download. But yeah, between us, we should find it. And let me see, is it there? Never ending story. Blogspot.com, never ending story. Is that it? Well, if I haven't found it, we will find it between us. We'll make a plan to find it and download it and watch it, because it's something I do think we should all watch. Anyway, yeah, man. Otherwise, sending much love. Another thing about copper is the immune system. It's really important for the form of, is it leukocytes? Just let me double check here quickly. Is it for the formation of leukocytes? Supports the development and function of immune cells like neutrophils, macrophages, B cells, and T cells. Helps defend against infections by aiding in antibody production and acts as a direct antimicrobial agent. Proper copper levels is essential for a robust immune system. So there's something to think about. It's literally antimicrobial. So when you got your water in a copper bottle, if there's like bad microbes in the water, wherever it touches the copper, and those microbes, they're like tickets, done. They're tapped out. So if you want to build a water filter, by the way, and you're moving water through a very complex sort of system of copper blades, so that as much of that water gets exposed to the copper as possible, that will purify your water of microbes. It won't remove chemicals and toxins, but it will remove the microbes. Food for thought. You can build water filters.
I've heard it's not good to drink water from a copper bottle in the evening, just to do it before 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that a myth?
I don't know about that. In India, they say it's just best to drink your water out of copper because it purifies the water. Yeah. I think like whatever you drink your water out of, like plastic is the worst. Steel is not the best. It's not bad, but there's
aluminium.
Rust. I mean,
as well.
Like
I caught my mum drinking from an aluminium bottle the other day. I was like, Mum,
come on, Mum, you're gonna get it.
It's actually her birthday. It's her birthday tomorrow, actually, as well. So
wow.
Her and Hollow Bonehawk have very close birthdays.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Big up, happy birthday to your mum. And yeah, man. I'm sure you'll be seeing her. Enjoy.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah. We're
My
gonna
mum's birthday was on the 13th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so earlier this week. I was supposed to see her this weekend, but the roads are all closed and she couldn't come on Friday and she could only come on the weekend, and the roads are closed tomorrow. So it's like I'll see her, just this coming week. But anyway, it is what it is. We'll wait a while. I've got her prezi here waiting for her. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Hollowbone Hawk, Bernadine, sending you all big love, big blessings. Blue glass in sunlight for 1 hour, sun purification. Yes, that's an interesting idea. Gaz, big love, big blessings to you. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, just on that topic, because of all of this stuff that's going on with all the energy in the world, energy crisis, war, and all of this stuff, and all this Aries energy, and like fire horse, and relating to the to our chi and energy and our etheric body. That with water, if you put a little bit of Celtic sea salt in it, and give it a shake, water loves to be moved. So if you have water in a bottle, if you store water in a bottle, preferably a Miron, like deep purple, ultraviolet glass bottle, or blue. Give it a shake before you drink it, because water loves to be moved. Water tastes amazing after it's vortexed. If you can buy a little thing which you put between one full bottle of water, you can buy a little vortex thing, and you have one empty one, you tip it upside down, and it spins like that. It tastes amazing. But yeah, adding a little bit of Celtic sea salt, even Himalayan sea salt, to the water can boost our energy, our electricity levels, which I think we maybe needing at the moment with all of this stuff that's going on. It's cheap, simple, easy. So yeah.
I've not seen this vortex thing that you're talking about, but what I've always used is just a fish tank bubbler. It creates little bubbles, and the bubbles spiral where they spin. So as the bubbles come to the top, they're spinning. So they create little vortexes, and basically it moves all of the
Dusty, isn't it?
all of the positive hydrogen ions from the water.
So this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then yes, this is Miron glass, which is like ultraviolet. We leave it out in the sun. So yeah, so it screws onto the top like that of any bottle. And then, so this is full, so I'm not going to tip it, but you put an empty bottle on top, and then you spin it round. If you do it with a clear bottle, you can see it. It creates a vortex. And even with tap water, afterwards, it tastes amazing. You do it a few times, like 5 or 6 times, and the water tastes amazing. It's not going to change the chemicals in it if it's tap water, but it changes the structure. So it makes the water happier, and you can taste it. It's happier as well. And another thing that we do as well is put chia seeds in water. Leave them soak for a little bit, and then when you drink that, it hydrates you for longer. Yeah, really, really good for you. So yeah, if you search just a vortex thing for water, I mean, Amazon might sell them. Like, it's got magnets around the edge as well. I think it's like about £12.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
What you do is you buy yourself a little pump, a water pump, a cheap one from your local grow shop, right? We use the water pumps to water our plants. Yeah, like if you're growing indoor cannabis. I got a couple of them, yeah. And you put your water, you buy a very weak water pump, because you don't need a very strong water pump if it's not pumping up a hill. Then you put your water pump on a higher thing, like a box, on top of the box, and you pump the water through the box so that the water is pumping and pushing up a tube, which is like a tube into a fluid. Does that make sense? So you want like a big flat container that's not too high, and you want the pump to be pumping the water through, and you want to have like a like a nozzle, right, that attaches to that. So you can take a glass bottle. I know this because I was naughty when I was young, and you can get a candle, and you can light the candle and run it around the top of a glass bottle. And you can get a cold, wet shoelace and strap it around it. It'll crack that bottle. You can get a bit of sandpaper and make it so it's not sharp. And now you've got a bottleneck. We used to smoke kind of beside of those. It's called a pipe back home. Like you take a 750 mil and you make like a big fat thing like this, and you chop it off the top, make it clean, and then you make your roach, and you put your little seeds at the bottom, and you can fill like a whole eighth. You can make a whole eighth in one shot, and that's a South African way of smoking cannabis. So anyway, but you can make that little bottleneck, and then you run your tube into that, and that will just create like a water feature. Does that make sense? So you can make a large amount of that water and just keep it running. And then just come and just canter that out. And so anyway, there's ways of making a water feature that's going to spiral the water with that little gadget that you got there.
Awesome. Yeah, I've started making a little list of like useful things to have, like colloidal silver. Iodine is really good for wounds and disinfecting water as well. Cayenne pepper, that's amazing for so many things for your circulatory system. And then I heard today that I've heard this before, but they reminded me if someone's having a heart attack, you put a spoonful in their mouth, ideally like with warm water, and
Of
it can
what?
hold. What's that?
A spoonful of cayenne pepper.
Yeah, and it can halt a heart attack. So it's worth having that in the house, or just on you. You know, you never know if one of your neighbours, like when Bodhi fell and hit his head not so long ago, he had to go to hospital. We were a bit worried because he got concussion. The ambulance said it would take about 4 hours, I think, just on a weekday. I know it wasn't an emergency, but it's a long time. Sometimes people have had to wait hours for an ambulance. You can't really rely on the healthcare system, like definitely not here in the UK. So little things like that, having cayenne pepper and knowing that it can stop a heart attack, is very, very important for the uncertain times we're in now. Of course, Celtic sea salt as well, or Himalayan salt for your water. Apparently, charcoal is amazing, like you know that. And see all these like little things for having like a bit of iodine, bit of colloidal silver, bit of charcoal, bit of Celtic salt. These are all kind of natural ways in which we can kind of not rely on the healthcare system or you know, pharmaceuticals and stuff. And if something happens, kind of have a little kit, so to speak, at home. So I think maybe on a future conversation, it would be great to go through some things like that. Maybe we can have like a what's the word? Like, what do you call it? Not doomsday, but like what's it called?
A preparation for when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, just a prep. Like sometimes people have like a go bag.
Prep day.
Yeah.
Prep day.
And not even if shit does hit the fan. It's just good to have. It's good to like not rely on other people or like, you know, medical professionals for stuff. It's just like, okay, I'm just gonna look after my gut with we'll take a bit of charcoal if you have a bit of tummy ache or whatever, and just little things like that. I think is important for people to know. So maybe we can do a little a health special sometime.
I definitely think we will have to do that. Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Have you ever taken a whole teaspoon of cayenne pepper?
No, I just put a little. I put a little bit in.
I was just imagining like doing that. I was like, wow, because the stuff's pretty strong.
Yeah,
it could give you a heart attack if you're not having one.
Yeah, no, you're supposed to put it in warm water, but if you don't have, you know, if someone's having a heart attack, you don't have time for that. Just get it in them, like that's gonna it's gonna wake them up. But
What is
I
that
put it
in
in
the blood, huh?
cacao. I put it when I'm making raw cacao, a bit of cayenne pepper.
I wonder if that thins the blood. Pepper thins blood. I think it thins blood. That would explain why a teaspoon of it's gonna it's got high levels of salicylates, which have blood thinning effects, right? So the salicylates in the cayenne peppers going to thin your blood, and that's going to protect. Oh, so by the way, men, cayenne pepper before you want to go rodeo riding, and I mean like the kind of rodeo riding that you do indoors, right? Not the outdoor rodeo ridings with horses, the indoor rodeo ridings when you close the curtains, because it thins the blood.
Good outdoors too.
So it gets you hot-blooded. It thins the blood. It gets the circulation going. It gets the blood moving to the extremities. And that way a man can keep his end up extra well. So there's food for thought. I never knew that cayenne pepper is going to improve sexual performance, but there you go. What do these people use? They use Viagra, right? So cayenne pepper is the naturopath's Viagra. What a thought.
Well, cayenne pepper helps the circulatory system, whereas Viagra can cause heart attacks. So,
strokes. I think it causes strokes because it's an unnatural additive to the system, and it's too fast in action. Suddenly decoagulates. I think cayenne pepper, you can't just have it once and then it's done. You have to eat it in your diet a little bit all the time. Does that make sense? Like natural things don't work like the drugs you buy in the shop. You pop it and suddenly it hits you. But if you're using natural stuff, you got to get it in your system. It takes a while for it to work. It's not the same. It's not like a quick fix. It's more of like a lifestyle effect changer. But yeah, I've always loved cayenne pepper in my food. I haven't been cooking with it in a while. I wonder if chili has salicylates in it too, because then chili should have a similar effect. Does chili have salicylates? Yes. So chili also. So chili can do the same thing. If you don't have that, chili's got the same stuff. And this is why, like, you go to India and there's 2.2 billion people. You're like, what the hell happened? Well, chili's happened, dude. You go to China. They also like their spicy food, right? Like, why are there so many people? Well, this is something in the food. Yeah, definitely something in the food, man. It makes them get all excited and hot-blooded and like curtains are closed, you know? Anyway, ending on that joyful note, very Aries of us, by the way. Aries is a very passionate sign. The Aries are they show their love viscerally. It's a very Aries thing. It's a very Aries trait, isn't it? You know, to express your love physically, contact, hug, you know, whatever other kind of contacts you can imagine. That's Aries for you. And Scorpio is ruling over, you know, sex. So think about that for a moment. So yeah, otherwise I think we've been on for an hour and 43 minutes. I don't know how that happened. We were talking about getting off like 25 minutes ago. So we should probably do it before it's too late.
Yep. Big love everyone in this chat. Happy birthday, Hollow Bonehawk. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And it's been a good chat, Franklin.
As always with you, brother. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's honor having you on the show. Thank you, everybody. Take it easy. Keep it sweet. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the weekend. I think most of you are on the weekend already, although some people in India are still on their way here, or they're starting their day on the weekend. Other than that, take it easy. Om Shanti. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Big love. And till tomorrow. I'm not sure what the round table's about yet. We have to think about it. But I'm sure it'll be a fun topic. Big love, everybody.
Always is. Take care. See you later.